renarspodcast.
Let's talk about presenting wildlife and I checked some of your videos. I've really enjoyed them. Very cute and interesting and informative, which is that's the most important. What it is, it's not only about a little bit of show. It's about information to understand what is going on with certain species and certain endangered species in specific. So how did that journey started for you?
Okay, again, it's one of those fate and destiny things. I eventually moved to Hollywood. So again, it shows how the journey progressed and everything came full circle. So my dream was to go to Hollywood, and I packed my bags when I was 21, and of course I couldn't work there or anything, and it was a stupid thing to do. But fast forward the clock, all those years later, I had joined the stunt register. I was successful in the entertainment business in this country and created a body of work, which then eventually prepared my case to get my green card so I could go and work in Hollywood. So
how many years later?
It all came full circle. So we're talking 10 years later, really.
Decade,
so after 10 years of hard graft, I made my dream come true of working in Hollywood. And now I do that all the time, which is, again, hopefully an inspiration to those out there, that it is possible. Just keep pushing. And I never lost sight of that prize because, again, that was my biggest inspiration as a kid, was to get there. And that was the stamp, the seal of approval really for myself, not for anybody else, myself, that I was, I'd reached a point where that I was happy with. But anyway, so I was working in LA, and the transition over there was very difficult because you're a pretty big fish in a small pond over here in the stunt industry because, there's only 400 or back then 400 like-minded, physically able-bodied people like yourself doing that particular thing. But in the States, you're a tiny fish in a huge pond. I mean,
really?
There's so many people doing it.
What's the number? If you
I
would
have
guess?
no idea because it's a free for all in the States. That's the difficult thing, is that anybody could be a stuntman. They don't have this join the stunt register with 6 disciplines. Anyone can say they're a stuntman, and that's what's really tough over there for them. They revere our system because they just don't know who they're getting half the time. They're just taking a chance on somebody that says they can do it, and perhaps they can't. But with us over here, we have that training, we have that strict career path that you have to follow, and a coordinator over here knows when they get someone from the register, and they are a trained professional, and they've got a certain degree of skills that they know they can use and make the job happen. But in the States, that's just not the case. And unfortunately, a lot of the time in the States, they use their best friend. They'll say, you can do it, because it's not that, some of it's not that hard, There are those jobs where anybody could do it. And then they're a stuntman, and it takes up all the positions that would be available. They're just gone. And it's really, really tough to get a foothold in the States because there are just so many people.
Right.
So anyway.
Sorry, before you continue, I was just wondering about that. Okay, so they put their friends forward, but very often, as you say, someone could just rock up, I'm a stuntman. And then what? They just take them? How would they check anything? They probably would ask some video, show us what have you done in the past? Yeah, things like that.
You show up, you hustle sets, or you used to before COVID. You'd literally take your headshot, resume, and a show reel to meet the stunt coordinator on set. So you'd literally try and find out where all the productions were, and you'd rock up to set and hopefully get to meet the stunt coordinator and give them your stuff, your show reel. So, you in that respect, they could see at least from your reel if you're any good or what you've done in the past. But you know how that is.
Yeah. Because I think the biggest one would be danger, especially if you are a stunt coordinator, someone comes, shows their reel, okay, it's kind of okay, and then they get some nasty injuries, or what do you do then?
Well, I mean, that's half the thing. You don't know who you're getting and whether what you see on the reel was 10 years ago or up to date. So it can be. But then you're known, you get known. The States for me is like concentric circles. You've got the middle, which is the people that work all the time and they know each other, they train in the same places. And then you've got the periphery and people
Right.
around that. And the hard part is infiltrating to get to the center. So you then start to ally yourself with people, training places. You get known where you're training, and then they see what you can do. So there is a lot of word of mouth that happens. And, I'm not saying that the level of performance are not good in the States. They're really good. And I have to say, because the competition is so strong, they really are good. And there's some amazing performers. But when I was trying to make that transition, I'd been on in this country were the biggest movies of the time. I was in the Harry Potter franchises, and I just imagined my career would sort of go on this steep trajectory upwards, and I'd reach the dizzy heights of what I had just imagined that Hollywood.
Did you have the
would
red
to
carpet
offer.
every time when you get on the set? Like this is Nicholas Daines.
No, not
Oh hell, Nicholas Daines.
It was just in my, I just imagined it would be a different journey.
Yeah.
But life has a way of showing you and knocking you to your knees that, that's not the way it's going to be. So I really struggled when I first moved to Hollywood, because when you come in from the outside, you're just another number that's annoying. Because,
because another competition as well.
Yeah. And also, they think, you're coming from outside, you're stealing our work. And
you speak very posh English.
Well, that's it. I stick out like a sore thumb. It's not like I can pretend that I was anything but myself and English. And, it was really hard. Coordinators over there, I'd show them my headshot reel and resume, and then I'd be back on the set the next day as an extra, because that's how I got to meet them. Yeah. And I'd just find it in the bin, ripped up and in the bin. Yeah, so that was tough.
Assholes.
There were some real assholes. And it was just... It's kind of cutthroat in that respect. So
there should be a little video where you go in a bin and just you pick it up and the tear just goes down and you're the grind continues.
Well, that happened. That really did happen. So anyway, I struggled, and I'm always one to be having something on the back burner, trying all different things, and I try and use the best of what I've got, and I'm resourceful. And I was talking to a friend who's actually a director for a magazine show in Cape Town, South Africa, and he was trying to come up with a stunt segment for the show, and I helped him create this segment, and obviously I wrote it for myself, really, to do the stunts so that I could, number one, have a job.
And the guy, a performer, has to be 5'7" tall, definitely.
Pretty much.
Otherwise, this is not going to work.
It was,
It has to have English accent.
Wow. It was basically for Top Billing, which is a very popular magazine show over there. And it was teaching the host of the show, Jeannie D, how to do stunts, basically. And it was a kind of a one-upmanship. So she meets me driving a car and she knocks me over accidentally, and I'm the stuntman that she's come to meet. Okay. And then she would set her arm on fire, I would set my whole body on fire, she'd jump off a little shed like we're in, and then I would jump off a building. So it was just a display of one-upmanship and showing how we do each one of those stunts, from a car knockdown, fire burn, and a high fall. So it was a really cool segment, and I got to do all those in one day, which you never get to do. So it was a really busy day, plus it was in Cape Town, South Africa. It was a really cool job. But so that was while I was struggling in LA, I got the opportunity to do that. So I went over to Cape Town to do that. And it was while I did that segment with Jeannie D, watching her be the presenter, I got that same overwhelming sense of, oh my God, this is what I want to do. This is my next thing, this is meant to be.
Light bulb.
Yeah, it was. It was like that. Again, that sort of slamming the door. This is the path that I would like to go. Because at that point, I thought it was just stunt. But actually, I realized there was, again, another facet to the industry where I wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
Another door opens. So that's where it started. And then from there, again, really random, couldn't make it up stuff. I made a behind the scenes video of that, of doing these various stunts. And I sent that out to all the presenting agencies in this country, and I sent it off to David Foster Management, which is a wildlife agency, and they asked if I could do a segment on fungus. They liked my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was my specialization at university, so of course.
And you're
it was so
and you're a
easy.
fun guy as well.
I'm a very fun guy to be with.
And I will do the hey.
It was so full, the segment, there wasn't much room for anything else.
Hey. Oh, another one.
So I did it.
Wait. Say it again.
What?
Say it again. There was not.
Oh, the segment that I did for them, it was so full that there wasn't much room for anything else.
There you go. Oh, God. That's so cool. Okay.
Yeah, so I did it, and of course
Yeah.
they took me on. I wanted to be a presenter, and then I sort of focused in on being a wildlife presenter, because obviously I am a microbiologist, and I did animal physiology as well. And I've always been keen on wildlife my whole life. I've been fascinated by it, and it has actually been a huge part of my life when I look back.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started to hone in on being a wildlife presenter, and I then got in with a charity for orangutans who took me over to Borneo. And again, you couldn't make it up. I've just decided I want to be a presenter. I've managed to get myself an agent, and then I'm in the jungle in Borneo presenting about orangutans. It was crazy. And that's basically, again, one of those sort of trajectories and pathways you just can't make it up. I mean, it felt like it was meant to be, and I still feel like it's meant to be. And obviously from that, I then went on to create and produce my own mini-series called Destination Conservation, which I am still plugging, which is basically something I am very, very passionate about, which is getting the next generation and kids involved with conservation of endangered species. You know, we really are not getting the messages across. We're not giving them the tools that they will need to clear up the mess that we have made. So, you know, you can watch all these wonderful BBC glossy shows, but really, if we're not teaching the next generation what these animals are facing, the problems that they have on a ground level, if they can't tell the difference between a leopard and a cheetah, what's the point? Game over. If they don't even know where they live or whether they're endangered, how can they save them? We're really failing them. And, you know, when I was working for the orangutan charity, I just realized that is really missing.
Yeah.
And why isn't this everybody's problem? Everybody should be, you know, involved, you know. And I think what really spurred me on was working for the charity. I realized they wanted to keep it like this. Like, yeah, give us your money, we'll deal with it. And I there was me thinking, no, this should be everybody's problem, you know. And if I don't know about this, and I'm an educated microbiologist and wildlife biologist, and I don't really fully understand the problems that we're facing. It was like an awakening for myself.
Yeah.
So to be able to take people on that journey, that's always been my thing as a presenter. I think that's what I meant to do, is take people as I learn on this journey. And it was like that for me with the charity. I just wanted to blow the whole thing open and get a bigger platform so that everybody could understand, really raise this awareness, but do it on a level where, you know, everyone can get involved to a degree, whether it's, and shifting their consciousness, like mine had been shifted. So that was my real thing, was just to really, I wanted a bigger platform, and that's when I created Destination Conservation and came up with the idea. But really, it is about the next generation. We really have to hand these tools down, and I was lucky enough to make that a reality and make my own show with it. But I still think, you know, and when I was in the jungle making it, it was at the time of Greta Thunberg, with kids taking charge of their planet, you know, not going to school and defying everybody, saying, you know, we want clean air, we want a world to look forward to. And I was thinking, God, people are going to bite my hand off for this, because it was taking kids, taking charge of the planet and helping endangered species. And yet not really, you know, it didn't happen that way. I'm still pushing for it, and I still think it's something that really needs to happen. Whether it's in, you know, a different format, or we remake it or whatever, but it's definitely something that needs to happen, and happen now.
Renarspodcast.